We're not live
We
yet.
are live.
Are we live? We're live. We're live.
Welcome to the show that nobody asked for, Jamie.
Nobody, not a single person, but we're happy to be here, and we hope you're happy to have us. Say hi. Tell us you're here because we want to know.
Yes.
Inquiring minds want to know.
But first, Jamie.
It's the show that nobody asked for, the only reason that we shower. If these ovaries could talk is live right now.
Oh,
Boom.
that.
Boom. Yes. We're live right now.
We're live. And Jamie's mom is here. Would never be a live show if Jamie's mom wasn't the first person here. Our first comment. I love it. What would you do if your mom had a job and she wasn't able to be, she wasn't retired? I didn't mean like your mom doesn't work, but like your mom ain't got no job. I meant like if your mom was retired, not retired, and couldn't be the first one at every event we ever do.
I'll tell you this, my mom would be there anyway.
She would? She would?
Yes.
She'd be like in the bathroom of her company, just like not really working for a half hour.
She would just show up. She would show up. Guys, it's so fun to be with you here today. Robin and I have been together like all day, which never happens anymore. I feel like we've been together all day.
Well, you know what's so weird is like yesterday we didn't talk because I don't know, we did with the social media was posted and we didn't have anything planned. And like at 4:00 I texted her some nonsense just because I hadn't spoken to her all day. I was like, I don't know.
You called me.
I did. I was to tell you about a phone call I had.
Yeah, you called me up. I was on the playground and it was mayhem in that moment too. But it was good because I felt disconnected because we talked so much, much.
Ridiculous. Like if we go a weekend and we haven't talked 47 times, I'm always like, I wonder if she's mad at me.
I always think, if we text each other something that we're going to put up on the social media, like two days from now, I think I'll just leave it in the chat. And then no, that's the worst thing to do because the amount of texting we do is crazy. I can never find it again. Yeah. I've made that mistake way too many times.
Oh my God. Well, Jamie, the first
hot topic. Hi, Robin Townsend.
How are we feeling, Jamie? That's like a loaded question. Again, everyone knows that I put the banners in, so Jamie doesn't know what's happening. All right. So I should say, how am I feeling? I'm not feeling great, Jamie. I mean, I am feeling a general, and I want to know if other people are experiencing this, and I don't know if this is the timing of COVID and where we're at, but I'm feeling like I'm struggling to push myself to do stuff and to get stuff done. Are you struggling?
You're in the doldrums. I'm not struggling right now. I'm sorry. Just kidding. I know what you're talking about. It's a year. Today marks, I guess, everybody's putting this anniversary up. Today marks a year that we officially acknowledged this is a pandemic and everything needs to shut down. And that's heavy. And that sucks to think about. But I gotta say, like, the weather is beautiful today in New York. So it lifted my mood. I dropped Rose off this morning and then I took a long walk home and I feel like it really helped with my mood a little bit.
I think I'm going to go take a walk after this. I might do that if I don't have to make dinner. I've been trapped inside.
A margarita and take a walk.
I know. Well, that and by the way, in all seriousness, so the top of the year, everybody knows I did start dry January, and then I also just like continued it. So I've only had like maybe 2 drinks since the top of the year, but I also my food had been really, really bad. My food had been really sort of out of control with the pandemic, and I had been eating really badly, and I'd put weight on, and I just was feeling really bad. And I got that in order, and I feel like maybe I don't have anything to self-soothe. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any like, and so I'm just in my feelings, and I'm not enjoying that. I'm speaking for myself. Maybe that's a commercial for BetterHelp.
Maybe
our website.
Maybe you need to go to do some BetterHelp a little bit. I don't know. I'm here for you.
I don't know what I need.
But we are, we're still doing all our things. We just did if you interview us, you need to know that we're going to talk your ears off. We just did the
you have to stop asking us questions and we'll just keep going. It was a 2-hour interview. At the end, I was like this. I was like, when I was 3, I was born. I was so tired.
It was fun though. It was really fun. So that'll be coming out in May, I think. That's exciting.
A podcast called IVFU. We're going to be on that, which is a great title. I didn't even get the FU part of it until she said it.
IVFU, get it? Because IVF.
I know, I missed it. I was thinking like IVF University.
That's what I was thinking at first too, but it makes perfect sense. And actually, in her intro, she explains it. So of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, this is a hard right turn before we bring in we have a guest today, Steve Disselhorst, which he's back, which I'm so excited about. But before we bring Steve in, what are you watching right now, Jamie? What's happening?
I got nothing. I don't know what I'm watching. I keep nothing.
You nothing speak and hold for you? What's everybody watching, by the way? Just tell us in your little comments.
We watched I don't know.
All right. Well, I want to tell you what happened. I went over to my friend Heather's house. She's out of town, so we call her apartment the Transformation Center. And I'm feeding her outdoor cat, which is the most lesbian thing in the world. She has like some stray cat that she takes care of. And she's making me go over every day to feed the outdoor cat. This is not even her cat. This cat doesn't let you pet it. She has an electric house set up for this cat. I have to go feed the cat. So I stayed over at the Transformation Center last night. And when I turned on her TV, Hulu came on and Bravo came on. And there was a marathon of Below the Deck. Is Below Deck? How do you say that? I don't know the name of it. Below
Deck.
Deck. Watched it. Never watched it before. I got roped in. I'm so embarrassed. I can't stop watching now, and I need to know if Riley and Tyler see each other after this season. After the season's over, I need to know.
God, that sounds so fun. I love all those shows. I've seen them all except Below Deck. That's the only one I haven't watched. I love them all.
I'm in the middle of season 6 with Captain Lee, and like a guy got pulled off the boat and almost drowned and almost took his whole leg off. It was a lot happened.
It's that smutty, mindless entertainment that we as parents need at the end of the day. Just don't make me think. You know what that's what we watched last night. Anne put this on when I was putting Rose to bed. And we finished watching it for some strange reason. It's on the History Channel. It's The Foods That Made Us. Anybody see this? They do like these, it's episodes, but they're really long. And it's like, they do it like, they reenact like scenes from history about like the Heinz guy and the guy who made granola and like the foods that made us. And it's like them in like old 1800s.
Oh, God, those reenactment shows.
Oh my God. And it's so fun. It was so fun to watch and actually eye-opening to like see how some of the ketchup came about. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know how they do reenactment with the ketchup guy.
They're overacting their asses off and it's hilarious, but it's also you're like into the story. It's fun. They're fun. Anyway,
as an actor, have you ever been on one of those reenactment shows?
Yeah, I was in an America's Most Wanted. I died
because I've done 2 as well. America's Most Wanted? Amazing.
I died. I was a girl. There was a girl in New York that went for a run. Do you remember this? This was like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. She went for a run and never came back. And then they found her body. But what happened was she was surrounded with flowers, her dead body.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And it was like a serial killer type thing, but it never happened again. But anyway, I played her. And then I was afraid I was going to die and get killed.
All right. So I was in Celebrity Ghost Stories. Where I played a realtor, and in the ghost was making like water come down out of the ceiling, and me and the girl had to pretend that and the music was going off, so it was just me and this girl going like for like 5 minutes, and then I was also in an entire episode of Monsters Inside Me, where I played this woman, and the hair and makeup was so bad that my hair was too thick. So she tucked half of my hair underneath with like bobby pins, but every time the camera turned, you could see just all the bobby pins. Like you could see my hair was like this, and they would just kept putting me in these flowy Ann Tyler shirts. It was so bad.
It's so bad. Yeah, Mom. Go ahead.
I was going to say my husband was so obnoxious that they told him not to talk. So all we had to do was just be like this.
It's so bad. Yes, Mom. KFC and McDonald's. That's the episode I watched. It was so interesting. But isn't that always the job you're going to get? Like as soon as I got this audition, I was like, shit, I'm going to get this.
Well, I stopped going out for those because it was just like, I can't do this. It was so degrading as a performer. I was like, I cannot just be like,
I just also felt really bad playing this poor girl who was murdered, and then I didn't want to get murdered. And then when we went to record, I was afraid he was watching. Like, I really was afraid to. I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time, like, you have to come with me because I don't want to take the subway back. What if he sees me? You know.
I think we need to do a social media post with you, America's Most Wanted, and me with Celebrity Ghost Stories, and let's put those.
I can find that. I don't know where it is.
Oh my God! We're finding it. I'll find it. Okay, let's get to our guest, Steve Disselhorst, who is back. Hi, Steve.
Oh my God, you guys! So you're
Can
in
you
your
believe
field.
you came back? Like, you wasn't enough to do it once. You were like, I definitely want to go back with these ladies.
I do, and I especially want to be here today because you're in your feelings.
I am really in my feelings. I'm not in the food, but I'm in my feelings.
I want to hear about your feeling.
I don't think anybody
God.
wants to hear about my feelings. Truthfully, it's for the best.
I don't know. Yeah,
I was going to say,
ahead.
Steve, tell everybody about the book you wrote. Give yourself a little elevator pitch intro so that everybody may not have seen your first episode.
Yeah. So my book is Determined to be Dad. It's a memoir. It's about my journey of coming out and then creating my family through adoption. And I published it in June of last year, and it's been exciting. The impact that it's had in the world has been super exciting. I was just reviewing this today. I had an email that came in from Saudi Arabia from a gay man there that said, basically, I want to be a dad, and knowing that there are gay dads out in the world has given me hope. And so I felt like that really, he basically said, I can't get a copy of your book in my country, but knowing that there's a book out there that covers this topic, that someday I will hopefully be able to leave and be able to find a place where I can be a dad. It just is just, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to sell any copies. Like, I've made a difference in one person's life, right?
That's
like
heavy.
really, really transformational. So, so that's a little bit about my book. Yeah.
Wow,
Did you
that's
send
heavy.
him like a PDF of the book, or do you think it would be too dangerous for him to even have that?
You know, I responded back to him. It was on LinkedIn, and I responded back to him, and I was following his leads on communication. So he responded back with not much more, and so I left it there. Yeah.
Wow. Gosh. Yeah. Over here in our bubble, you know,
Yes.
look at you, Robin, over there in your feelings, and then this guy. No, I'm just kidding. That was.
I'm allowed to have feelings, you guys.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm glad you're having feelings. It means you're not eating your feelings. So good
Correct.
job.
That part is bad. Well, let's get out of my feelings and let's talk about,
Steve's feelings.
we wanted to have you back because you've been doing some amazing work in the schools, and we wanted to hear about that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was on the board of directors for Our Family Coalition, which is a LGBTQ organization in California that works for equity for our families. And through Our Family Coalition and through my daughters and son's school district, I was able to really address the issue about LGBTQ inclusivity. And really, the work that I've been doing is around how do we get the administration and teachers to have a curriculum and create a space that's LGBTQ inclusive. So yeah, that's the top level of what I've been doing. And also we really have started to sort of combine that effort with the work around racial equity in schools as well. So like creating a complete inclusive and equitable zone in schools.
That's no small undertaking. That is undertaking. Like I want to know, what about just for us to conversate here, what about the curriculum and the school experience was negative in regards to the LGBTQ situation?
Yeah. So think about your kids, right? Like at the earliest ages of schools, like they read a lot of books, right? And there's a lot of book time. And what do we see in books?
Mommy and daddy.
Mommy and daddy.
And we see
Boys and
mommy,
girls.
mommy, which is great, but there's not a lot of images that are inclusive of all the different type of families there are in our country. So,
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but even in second grade, my daughter's in second grade, there are romances between boys and girls in some of these new chapter books, like, pretending to get married, but it's always a boy and a girl pretending to get married.
Yeah.
But it's also not just that, but like I think about, I'm going back to like pre-K for my daughter. There was, and this is the intersectionality of what you're talking about. So there was like dads read to their kids day or week. And it was, and this school was so one, you're talking about LGBTQ folks, like lesbian parents or, single moms or, or like there was, maybe like a dad's not in the picture. You're hitting the intersectionality of socioeconomics as well as LGBTQ with an issue like that. And I understood why they did it, because they were trying to foster an environment to bring fathers into the school where it's traditionally moms. But like, so how do you handle something like that, where there's that mission that they're doing is a good mission, but there's all these kids that are going to be left out because of that?
Yeah. I want to know the problems and the solutions and then I want to do it for my kids' school.
So, Robin, what you're describing is what it's like for gay dads with Mother's Day, right?
Right.
Like Mother's Day is like the month of May when your kid starts kindergarten is like, it's 3 weeks before they start talking about Mother's Day, right? Like, so I think similar to like the dad's book week that you're describing it's really how do you bring in an important person in your life that's playing that role? So like for us in Mother's Day, what we would focus in on is they have a birth mother. Both of our kids are adopted. They have a birth mother. We do have activities that we have for our children to their birth mothers, such as writing cards and, sending photos and all of that. But then as far as how we're engaged is we actually do a lot of like chatting with the teachers to let them know that, obviously they don't have a mom that's on the scene day to day, and how can they bring in dad? And so the schools have been great. They've adjusted. They understand that it's really, Mother's Day is really parent day, right? Like, so it's really about expanding the purview of what a mother is. And in many cases, like in my case, I play sort of a mother role, a traditional mother role. I'm involved in a lot of the school activities that traditionally women have been involved in. And I think, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to step into that. I love that. And so, that's the short answer. Yeah.
Yeah, but so what do we do about like all of these? I don't know how to explain. Like Mother's Day, Father's Day, all of these special days, or even just things at school that happen that are not affirming to our families. Do we try to change them? Do we try to say you can't have a Father's Day anymore? It should just be Parents' Day, or do we try to open the school's eyes and just make them see that, yes, all the children in your school are not necessarily going to have a father. So please, when you introduce that we're going to make Mother's Day cards, please introduce the idea that they can make this card to anybody they want.
Yeah. So I don't advocate for getting rid of any of these holidays. I don't think that that's appropriate. We all have mothers and fathers in different ways. We have Mother Earth, right? We have our motherly, our godly father. We have all of these different parental images. And so I don't ask that we change them. I've never been. But it's more about how do we create the space with the teachers to really understand and include whichever parent is playing that role. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's really focused around like, what are you doing to celebrate the holiday, and how do you just expand it, right? Expand it to include dads in the case of Mother's Day. In the case of Father Days, how do you include mothers, right? Like, so it's really more an expansion.
Mm-hmm. And I like that. And then, so then maybe when my son was in daycare, we got this huge Happy Father's Day like banner that got sent out.
Yeah.
With like a picture of him like moping on it. It was so funny. But, so that maybe we don't get things like that in the future. You can just switch it up a little bit. But what do you do? How do you go about educating the school?
Yeah, does it have to be, because like I'm thinking of it as like a class by class, but then it gets tiresome. It's like every year at the top of the year, we're a 2-mom family. Can you please be respectful? And how do you handle this? Or do you just go right to the administration? Like, how does one organize and be effective in making the right change?
Top down, bottom up, right? Like you build your relationships with your teachers. Obviously it is a lot of work and it gets exhausting over and over, but that's where change happens, right? You think about organizational change or community change. Like there's always like, you're starting with bringing people together. In some cases, I would be reaching out to other parents and explaining what's happening for me, trying to get their support to understand like how it needs to be more inclusive. Go to the teachers. If the teachers are resistant, go to the principal. And then, where I ultimately landed was really at the superintendent level, so our superintendent, I eventually ended up going to and was like, how do we change this so that it's a structural change, right? So that we end the systematic exclusion of LGBTQ people in the schools. And so that's where you come up with things like creating a curriculum that's LGBTQ friendly, looking at things like non-discrimination policies, including sexual orientation, gender identity, looking at things like anti-harassment policies, looking at forms that are in the schools that are inclusive of both parents, looking at and asking the hard questions of who's responsible for educating the teachers and do they have education around LGBTQ families. So that's kind of the approach. And then it's about bringing in tools, right, and resources and trainings. I think the biggest challenge is the teachers in our public school system here in California, they get like 2 days a year for their own education. So They get like one fall day and they get one spring day. Well, if you have like a 8-hour LGBTQ focused, equity focused learning day, they're just like, we don't have the time. We've got 100 issues we got to cover. So it's really about how do we get it included in that day, but then also how do we get it included in the policies, right? So that's the work, and it's hard. A lot of work.
And I also wonder, I'm always afraid of being that parent that's like, I'm just advocating for things that affect my family, although it's not just my family. It's like I said, there's an intersectionality that I think, like you said, forms. Like I remember Judy Gold, when she was on the podcast, kept talking about like after 9/11, she was like, when you have a form that says mom and dad, she's like, a lot of people lost one of their parents. She's like, it should say parent. Period. It shouldn't say mom and dad.
It's not just an LGBTQ issue; it's family issue.
Parent or guardian, and then other parent or guardian, or because it's just. But like, so I just wonder how to approach that in a way that's like, I'm not just in here advocating for and I think this comes from my place of being like what you're saying. Like, I don't want to ask you to get rid of Father's Day. There are plenty of people who have fathers, and I am aware that as LGBTQ folks, we're 5% of the population. And as LGBTQ parents, we are one of 3 in the elementary school so I don't want to make them move the needle, but at the same time,
move the needle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that, yes, I started of a place for our family, but then actually became very aware that it was, think about all the LGBTQ kids that can't come out and don't come out later in life. Think about all the kids who are going through gender dysphoria and not having an inclusive space. So I actually started with me and my family and wanting to protect my kids. But then I quickly realized that actually
much bigger
I was a gay kid in a school and no one let me come out. And that wasn't a good thing, right? So having it at the system level and actually going in and talking about starting with your own experience, but then thinking about the intersection of, especially now in middle school and high school, kids are coming out so much earlier. So you're actually helping so many kids. And depending on where you live, we all live in these different places, it may be very unwelcoming. So yes, you come in to protect your family, but then you end up helping all of these other kids. And I would say the other thing is gender identity is becoming really important right now. I mean, it has been for the last few years, but gender identity, non-binary people, we need to have inclusive spaces for them. And so when we come in and talk about our family, we can expand that. And that allows for kids, to be able to experience that at an earlier age. So that's why I first was like, oh my God, this is so much work. This is ridiculous. Why am I the one that has to do this? But then at the same time, I'm like, it's going to have, I mean, the school district we're at, I don't know. I think it's a very big school district. So I'm like, it's going to have a huge impact across all these different sectors of people. Right.
Yeah, it's what a great point. You're helping children. You're saving lives.
You
are saving lives with adding this inclusivity into children's schools as young as kindergarten, pre-K.
Yep.
Because it's just insane. There really isn't a safe space. If you think about, I've thought about bringing books to my kids' library because I've noticed that the books, I noticed it in pre-K that the books didn't have any gay moms or gay dads, Yep. And so I noticed that and I thought, okay, I keep saying every year, I'm going to bring in books. And now after just hearing you speak, my daughter's reading chapter books now. And now there's little romances happening and they're all heteronormative and it's all boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. And the boys are always disparaging the girls. It's so gendered.
Yes.
Now I feel like I really need to not only find LGBTQ family books, 2 moms, 2 dads, but also gender confirming books, gender non-conforming books. Like it runs the gamut. The sky's the limit. And we should be doing this for our kids because there could be a child right now, as we speak, in 1st grade, struggling with their gender.
I feel like getting to the librarian is also a really important, because you can help them say, like, we need books that are this.
So that's what we do, actually. So, the PTA asks for donations every year, right? Like, and you make a donation to the school. We have like a walkathon every fall, like where we make donations. My daughter, like, we were really into it, but like what I do then is make a donation. We write the check, but then I'll put together a book list that includes LGBTQ families, communities of color, right? Also around adoption, gender, right? Like, so give them all, like, so you're making a donation. So for any of your listeners, and as you guys are out talking to a lot of, like, this is a very, like, they don't have a problem asking us for a donation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like,
the truth.
And you give the money because your school needs it. Well, here's the ask. Here's a list of 20 books, order them on Amazon and have them in the damn library in 2 weeks. And we're good. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and so there's ways. I do it with the classroom as well, bring stuff into the classroom. The other thing that's really at the younger ages, I don't know if this happens at your schools, but they do the family of the week, which one kid's family is celebrated for that week. And what I would always do, cool. Yeah, they do it in our schools. It's really great. And in the, like, kindergarten, first, I think it stops at 2nd or 3rd grade. But what I do before that is I would go and talk to the teacher and I would actually help educate the teacher and then they would say, well, you can come in and read, you can come in, because they invite the parents to come in for that. And I would say, that's fine. But at the beginning of the week, I want you to talk about how every families are different and use some of these books because the students are going to be much more accepting when the teacher says it's normal if there's 2 moms, it's normal if there's 2 dads, than me coming in and speaking as the parents of one child who has a different family. So I get the teachers to do it because the kids all respect and listen to the teachers, right? So there's a lot of, practical things we can do that makes change. And then you educate the teachers as well, right? Like, and so it's good.
Yeah. This is great. And it's making me realize I need to get on this. I keep saying I'm going to do it. And we have another 2 mom family and a 2 dad family in our grade. Yeah. And every time I see them, I'm like, we got to get some books together, guys. Yeah. And then I never do it.
You could just get them from Amazon and order them and ship them to the school.
I know.
I mean,
Well,
that's your donation. Maybe that's a donation to the school.
That's cheeky.
I think that's awesome to do that. I also think have the conversation because, we both live in bubbles that are very quote unquote open and inclusive, but at the same time, people they're afraid to ask, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to talk about, many issues, right? And like when you're the parent and you go in, you can have a conversation that opens up their eyes to the fact that because they love your kid, right? Like they're teaching your kid, they love your kid, unless they're your kid's throwing shoes across the room, and then they're like, "Hey," but they love your kids, right? Like these teachers are giving their lives, so you go in and you have the conversations, then you give them the tools, and it just really opens things up, and it doesn't actually take that much, right? Like, it's really it's beautiful to see it's really beautiful to see people change, right? Like to see people who maybe are closed off going, oh, okay, well, I was uncomfortable with this. Now I'm more comfortable, right? So yeah.
Yeah, because the more you know.
Sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
I just was saying the more you know, the easier it gets. Go ahead, Robin.
I was just making a joke. I was like, do you lead with your book and do it like a little mini book talk? Determined to be dad. This is my kid's story. Tell your parents to go out and buy Determined to be Dad.
I mean, that's what we're going to do, right, Robin? We're going to do a school tour with our book.
Yeah.
And we can teach your kid about sperm and ovaries too while we're at it. They might as well know.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I haven't done a self plug for my own book, to be honest with you. I'm focused on, but it's a great idea. I'll take it out. I'll bring a few copies.
The school
never know, you
library.
might sell some.
There you go.
You gotta hustle. It's always a hustle. I don't know why I did the dollar bills. But
This is such a great advice. But while we're here, we have to ask you what you're watching before we let you go. What are you watching right now?
Yeah, so I love that. I'm watching Queen Sugar on Hulu. So
Queen Sugar?
What's Queen Sugar?
It's an Oprah. It's about a African American family in New Orleans.
Ooh.
And it's about their journey as a family, and they're really fighting racism within the structural racism that they face in Louisiana. It's really,
how have I not heard about this?
Is it a period piece?
No, it's not. It's a modern. It's the acting is superb.
It's Oprah, you said?
Oprah is like
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really, really well done. I'm on season 4.
There's 4 seasons? That's amazing.
How do I not know about this show?
I don't understand.
I don't know.
Because I'm
check it out.
Everybody needs to start watching Queen Sugar on Hulu.
Yeah. On Hulu, yeah. When you go over the transformation, when you said you were at the transformation apartment and Hulu and HBO came up, I don't have HBO, but I was like, you got to watch this.
Oh my God.
I'm on it.
I'm going to watch that. Queen Sugar.
So exciting. We ask everyone because we want to know, it's like, who's not just burning through television right now with COVID? I mean, maybe it's going to come to an end soon, I hope. But I mean, is there almost nothing left on Netflix that I have not watched?
I know. It's sad. We just sit there and we're like, what do you want to watch? I don't know. We're trying to get through that glass bowling show, but I don't care about it that much.
I loved it.
Hulu's got some good stuff. It's a good change
from some good stuff.
Good change from Netflix. I got kind of burnt out on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to watch Queen Sugar.
Check it out. Email
Steve,
me. I can't wait to hear.
Put your book up again, so everyone Determined to be Dad, so everyone can go out and get this book.
Available on
Jamie
Amazon.
and I have both read it. It's
it's
good.
A great book. It's a great book.
Thank you. It's so good to be back with you guys. I love how you talk over each other. It feels so alive. It's so alive to be on this show.
I mean, you guys are so close. We're talking, we're saying the same thing to each other, and we're always like, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you finished that."
Yeah, it's really, you just have to keep on top of us. It's like I just said, we were in an interview, and I can't believe that interview lasted 2 hours. And I could have gone on. I could have just gone.
I was losing steam. I was losing steam at the end. I was like, and my kids were coming in. Eyes wandering. It was a lot was happening.
So amazing. And your book's amazing. I'm so glad to hear there's some new things coming out. You mentioned, I don't know if it's public
yet. Steve?
Yes.
This book?
Yes. Yeah, no, but you have a new interview coming out, hopefully. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say. You told me off record, so I'll leave it, but I'm super excited to hear about that.
We have all kinds of fun stuff. I don't even know what you're talking about, Steve.
Jamie's already forgotten.
No, I literally don't know.
The Advocate, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Interviews
That's
everywhere.
awesome. You're going to reach a ton of people through that. That's awesome.
I hope so. We hope so.
Hopefully. And everybody who's listening right now and watching, go ahead and share that book with your friends. You know,
Yes.
even if they're straight, they're gonna love this book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming. We love when you swing by. We'll have you on
Yep.
again. I mean, we just have to. You're part of the family now.
Yeah.
I feel like it. I
Yeah.
feel like it. I'm talking over you, so I feel like, yes, we're connected.
He's in.
So
He's
good,
in.
so good to see you. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
You
Be
too.
in touch.
I love him.
We just love him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's so delightful. I mean, and I did realize, like, he's part of the family. Like when we brought him into the room because we always meet with the guests for a couple of minutes before we talk, and I was all, Steve, like you know, like I call him on Saturdays. Steve!
Yeah. Hey, what up? What up?
Steve!
What a great guy and what great work, man.
And I'm serious. Like we've had to read some books sometimes that were like, oh. His book was fantastic.
Can we talk about that book that every child reads, Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Wait, where are you going with this?
Do you know that book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Yeah.
That book is so gendered and wrong on so many levels.
Okay.
I can't even with that book.
All right. I don't know where this came from, but I like where your head's at.
Because I'm thinking about the books that Rose just brought it home to read it, and I were reading it at bedtime. I was like, "What is this?"
Oh,
He's
Henry
like,
loves those books, and he
it's
loves
so
Big Nate.
gendered, and it's so like kind of like boy violent. Like it's like everything I'm not cool with. I don't like it. I don't like those books.
I love how like Rebecca waited until the interview was over to start saying hello to your mother. Hi, Rebecca. So we just want to say, I did talk about being in my feelings today. And we do have this partnership that we really believe in.
I didn't mean to roll my eyes. I just rolled my eyes.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm having feelings, Jamie. And you're 100% like,
no, I'm here for you. I am here for you. 100%.
Does anyone want to comment about how much you think Jamie's here for me right now?
I am really, really here for you. 100%. I told you, let's go get a drink together. Let's chat.
You did.
Let's get out in the sun. I said.
But so we do have this partnership with BetterHelp, where if you go to our website, ovariestalk.com, you get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, and Jamie and I have just spoken volumes about how helpful online therapy can be. And also Mira Fertility, if you're doing any ovulation tracking and checking and hormone levels, and we've got discounts for both those partners on our website. Go get it. That's there for you.
Go get those things.
And then Jamie,
rate and review us. You can rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcast. You can rate and review our book on Amazon or Google or Goodreads. Yeah, and rate us and review. Just, do all the things.
When you're done, rate and review Steve's book. You know what I mean? Like when you're on a review kick, just like bang them out.
Yeah.
Say we're great. 5 stars. That's all you got to do.
Just give us the stars. You don't have to write it. Now we'll take a little blurb too. That's nice.
We can't, Jamie. We ask so much of our listeners.
I know, but they don't have to do any of it.
You had a window to tell them not to do it, and then you're like, no, do it. Do the whole thing.
Just do it. It doesn't mean they're going to do it. Nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to go right now onto Amazon and review us. But you could.
Maybe are we daring? Are we daring you to?
You can create a new account even and like make a new one. I don't know.
I did it with
Rebecca is done.
The fact that our listeners are telling us to STFU.
Oh my gosh.
Time to go. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to Steve Disselhorst for coming and sharing about how to make an impact at schools. This was a lovely time.
This has been great. Ovaries
and out.